Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome. If you've ever felt for deep, deep healing, for a way to reconnect with yourself that words just can't quite touch, this conversation is for you. We're here today to talk about something truly magical, our upcoming horse healing retreats. I'm Meredith Kelly, and I have my beautiful colleague, Dianna Hall, with me. And we've both experienced firsthand the profound healing that happens when you allow these incredible animals to hold space for you. So maybe you've been feeling stuck, disconnected, or like something inside is calling for a shift, but you don't quite know what the next step looks like. Well, today we're diving into why horse guided healing is just so powerful, and what to expect at the retreat, and how to know if this retreat is the right experience for you. So let's get into it. Welcome, beautiful Dianna.
Thank you, Meredith. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy to be here with you.
Yeah.
And I would just love for you to share first what inspired us to create this retreat. And for those who are listening, Dianna and myself will both be hosting the retreat with you. But Dianna is the true equine therapist. And so I just want to hear from you. Like, what was the inspiration behind it?
Um, Having 30 plus years of working with horses and humans and more on the um, athletic end of a horse in, the arena. Some people say chasing the blue ribbons. That got old for me as I got older. And I know that, a lot of people in that industry love their horses very passionately, but it's not the same type of deeper connection that we find if you go into just the spiritual side of the horse from the ground. And when I sort of found this, searching for healings and having the opportunity to be at a healing retreat for horses, I think it was then that I thought, okay, this is definitely a new chapter for me where I want to explore and go deeper into the horse healing industry and sort of I still enjoy riding horses, but retire from the competitive side. And with that, just finding a deeper connection with the horse in a spiritual way, and the fact that they're actually really good healers, probably one of the best that I have come in contact with, and I'm just very passionate and in love about this chapter is kind of redefining our retreats, and having Meredith join is just the icing on the cake, or the mane and tail on the horse, I guess you could say. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. So I'm super excited you're here, Meredith.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So, how long have you been working with horses in your background?
So as I'd mentioned, I've got 30 years with horses and humans,
So 30
and
years. That's
30 years,
incredible.
and I've owned and managed an educational equine boarding facility with my wife and daughter for the last 20 plus years, and just the opportunity to have several different breeds and several different disciplines in that space has been a huge blessing, and we've gained a lot of case studies and healing, experiences through that I'm super excited about, uh, just getting into more in a new area, in a new space, and in being an animal communicator helps me be more fluent, with kind of giving you a better understanding and guiding you through the healing sessions by being able to kind of give you understanding about what the horse is saying, either through its body language or through its energy. Um,
Hmm.
and then also being gifted as an aura reader, I can really understand and see the power of presence when it comes into a rebalancing for the individual as well as for the horse. When the horse takes on your energy, you can see it through each other's core, and then you can kind of guide someone through. And it's a softer, um, kinder, type of healing. Even though it's fast, it happens very fast. It's very soft, and it's not pushed, even though um, worlds are happening in that moment. It's really quite.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying because I have experienced it. And I would love for both of us just to get a little vulnerable and share just a personal story. And I'll start since you probably have many to draw from. I have had, my first experience with horses in a healing realm was with you
Mm,
and this special horse. And it was during a really challenging time in my life, and thankful to you and Lisa for inviting Jules and I out to be with the horses and to be with you. And I was grieving. I had just lost both of my parents and was really, really missing my mom a lot. And what happened for me was I ended up lying down on the back. My spine was aligned with the horse's spine, and tears just started rolling down, and I could just feel this. I have a lot of experience with energy work, and it was like this rapid spiraling upward started to happen. And it's this energy that I can't shake. It's something that had just shifted in my being, like really deep inside, in a way that I might have experienced before in other types of healing work, but this one was no words. I didn't have to explain myself. I didn't have to try to talk through my tears and explain what I was going through. The horse really just got me. And it was literally, it had my back. And it was just this amazing heart opening that I could feel. And it really did, usher me forward on my grief journey. And ever since then, the horses have been in my psyche a little bit closer. They've been showing up in dreams. They show up in meditation. They just kind of just showing up. And this is what inspired me to want to do this with you, because more people need to feel what these amazing, powerful healers, these horses, can provide. So that's my story. And I would love if you have one that you would like to share. It might be a little different.
I have so many great stories of individuals, but I'll speak of my own because I.
We'll get to a testimonial later from someone else
Oh,
too, but like,
for sure, yeah.
because I know
But
these horses have touched so many lives.
I know. I find it humorous, and I love, when the universe teaches me a lesson, because I I just start laughing because I'm like, oh yeah, I was there all along. But that's I find joy in it instead of making it heavy. And so I had planned this to go to Arizona for a healing retreat of a friend of mine, and I wanted to bring my daughter along because she needed it more. I'm like, we'll go, and she'll get fixed. It'll be great. It turned out to be me that, was there for it. And it I didn't see it coming. So it hit pretty hard, but it was definitely life changing. And even though I, was blindsided, I still accepted to receive it. And in that moment, all of the horses that were in the arena were on me. Some were behind me. Several were, to my right, to my left, and there was one that was straight. straight down through my center, and they just stayed there and just they were just there with me in the being. Um, and it was probably one of the most magnificent, experiences where, like you say, you just have that release, you weep and you weep and you're just so much gratitude for. I needed that many to hold me up because I think I was surprised that it was for me. But definitely life changing. And I remember speaking to my friend about the retreat and how, I was bringing my daughter, it was going to be great for her. And after that session, um, she came over and put her head on my feet and just like held my feet to the ground. Said no words like the horses didn't, but she saw it too. But she, you know, kind of like instinctively was like, this is everything that you need in this moment. And I'll never forget it. It definitely changed my life for the better. But I often um, like to say that um, we're searching to become, you know, better versions of ourselves, and we shouldn't be looking at the outside world for it. We need to go inside to find the right frequency to find our authentic selves, and this is what these retreats do for us.
So good. So good. I'm going to pull up one of the images that you shared with me about why horses, because there's something profound about their energy field. Oops. And this is a really great one because it shows you sent me another one that isn't very it's kind of this
Oh,
one.
you know what? That one is not clear at all, but
But
you
what is clear is how big their magnetic field is compared to the
that's
humans,
yes,
right?
that's why I wanted to share that one, even though it's not as clear. It's enormous, and when you step into it, this is the why it's happening, how it's happening. Um, their their electric we call it, their EMF, but their electronic magnetic field is massive, and it can take on a human's energy, and it wants you to be in that present space. And this is the reason why um, you're able to tolerate the difficult like body sensations or the suppressed emotions that come up during these retreats, because it is, whether you have this conscious or unconscious resolving of an issue, the horse can soften that for you, and they want to take on the issue. They want to carry it for you, and the benefits that you're seeing in this photo are um, incredible. How quickly they can just deal with all of these issues. And they say that there's an endorphin in a horse that is pleasing to humans, and it's why we feel so good around them. But there's so much more that's happening, like worlds are happening in that moment, when you enter as an intentional healing. And they can read that. They don't read our emotions, they actually read our nervous systems. It's remarkable.
Mm-hmm. So powerful. So powerful. So, Diana, why don't you walk our listeners through like a typical day, maybe the day where they're with the horse at the retreat, like what, just so they can know like what to expect.
Sure.
What
Yeah.
happens?
So we usually arrive on Friday afternoon, and there's a lot of, it's a meet and greet, but there's a lot of priming that happens in that moment, because we come from such a rushed, busy schedule in our normal daily lives. So we start to slow down, because when you slow down, then the horses are, listening. If we're busy, and we're in our heads more than we're in our hearts, they're usually on the other side of the arena. They don't enjoy that energy. So we start to slow down. We do some meditations. If you're not great at meditations, it doesn't matter, because they're guided, and it's just about relaxing and getting yourself grounded. There are some exercises to prime you before you go into the healing, and just have some people come with something they want to work on, but if you're not sure, or it's kind of lost in the subconscious, then we sort of want to bring that forward, whether you can name it or not. It doesn't matter. And on Saturday, the whole day is designated to these healing sessions, and you are in the center of the arena with the horse. Now, sometimes, depending on your situation, you would be lying down on a massage table, and the horses, would come to you there, or you'll be standing. And usually, that download just kind of happens naturally, to just kind of read or know what it is that you need. But it's customized. Every healing session is different depending on the situations that you bring. And the timing is, it just sort of, time sort of stands still in that moment. So we can't really like label how long, but it's as long as you need it. And like what we explained in these examples, worlds are happening in that moment for you, and you will feel this instant release from what no longer serves you, from what you are tired of carrying. You will leave this retreat a different version of yourself, and not have to carry any of the trauma or the stress that you've had, in the past. After those sessions, it's pretty raw and vulnerable. So a lot of your energy, is built up in that moment. And so there's reflection time, and journaling, and we have a beautiful brook, that we encourage you to go and sit by in your bare feet, and just write about your experience, write about what happened in those moments. Some people say there's not really English words to pull it, but just write from your heart and get a grasp on, where it is, and just, it's just kind of a relaxing time. And these retreats that are coming up are going to be super special for our tummies, because we have Chef Jules, who is feeding us. And not only is she going to have meals prepared, she is designing them around the fact that we're in a healing moment, that we are like in this vulnerable state. So everything that she's preparing is about supporting us in the space that we're in. So it'll be just beautiful to fill our souls and our hearts and our tummies with everything that is healing. On
Yes.
And
Yes.
then Saturday evening is a fire circle that we come to, and it's a ritual that we do for more releasing and confirming that what happened is released, and you're throwing notes in the fire of what came up for you. And then um, Sunday is a little bit of physical touch, as far as introducing you to some um, more oils and things that will support you as you start to go back into the world. And then we do a group exercise with all of the horses and all of the retreaters that come. And it's a kind of a closing ceremony, but it's really beautiful. And the horses definitely react to you in a different light, because you are a different person. So it's a wonderful experience. But that's just kind of a general. There are, more little goodies that are in there, but that's what it would look like.
Beautiful. Yes. And I'll be leading some breath work and doing some body work as well. And you're going to feel like you're having this really luxurious, but at the same time, rustic experience. It's going to be lavished with all the things that are good for your body, good for your heart, good for your soul. You're not going to have to think about your meals. They're going to be provided for you and so delicious. And this experience is, it's going to feel like you're, a couple days out of time, because you're in this special environment, and whatever happens, is, it's kind of like it's up to you and your soul and the horses. So it's a beautiful time. We're going to have so much fun. And I want to address that. I know some people have the question like, hey, what if I don't have any experience with horses at all? Um, do you want to speak to that? If there's any fears about not being good with horses, or if someone has that thought process going on?
Honestly, you'll have the best experience. You'll have the best experience. As someone who's wore many helmets, it's hard to turn that part of your brain off to wanna micromanage the horse, and get it to do what you're normally asking it to do, whether it's jumping over jumps or riding cross country it's interesting that I've found that people that are not necessarily equestrians are better in these retreats because they're just open to the the horse and loving the horse, from the ground. So I found that equestrians have to really take their helmets off in these retreats and work towards focusing on the spiritual part of the horse.
The connection, being with them, and really seeing them for the magnificent being they are, and not, it's different, because when you are an athlete with horses and equestrian, you have to take control. And yeah, so it's the opposite that's happening here. So it's the people who have more experience with horses that might need a little mindset shift. Do you want to speak to that a little bit, or do you think we covered it? Is there anything
No,
else
I
to
I
add?
I totally agree with you, and I think it's possible. It's just a different way to view the horse that they're not accustomed to. They work as a team in in a discipline, if you're riding. So you're giving and taking with the horse, but there's an expectancy of the horse. So when we talk about these healings, um, we talk about the sympathetic nervous system and the um, para I'm like losing my words. Um, you can't have the sympathetic in a healing session because you're not doing with the horse. You're not doing anything with the horse. So it can't be present. It's only when we're when we're standing next to the horse, that that's where the worlds are happening. And it's funny when they say the art of nothing it's a book, The Art of Nothing, the art of doing nothing. It turns out it's really something, you know. It is, it's really something, and I look forward to you to have such an experience as this because it's definitely something that everyone should try at least
Yes.
once.
A day out of your life, a couple days out of your life, and it can just change so much in your psyche and your mind. It can help you reset your nervous system. You spoke about the parasympathetic and the sympathetic part of the nervous system. And it is so important to realize that when we're in fight or flight, that is our nervous system on overdrive. That's that sympathetic nervous system. And we're just thinking, 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 how do I get out of this situation? And the parasympathetic is when you're in the healing mode, you're in the rest, you're in the digest, your body's ready to just heal and reset and be calm and relaxed. And that is the goal, right? When we come
Right,
together in this retreat, is to reset the nervous system so that we can find safety in the grounding. We can find safety in the presence and the connection and the interspecies connection, which is oh so fun, because it's like you learn to speak a new language, and it's not with words. It's very here and here for me. So I'm curious to see how that will land for everyone who feels called to join us.
Meredith,
And
oh,
did
I'm
you,
just, go ahead.
I was going to ask you if you wanted to speak about intentional healing work and, you know, if there's anything else that you wanted to share about that, because I think
You
it's
know
so
what?
important.
Yeah, I will hold on that, but I love that you brought up fight or flight because that is um, that is a horse's instinct is fight or flight. But we've found that in the horse there is no well, in the horse it's fight or flight because they feel a threat, for death. And that's more in the wild, even though domestic horses still have that instinct inside of them. They don't really have to worry too much about being out in the wild and they're a little more protected, but they still have that instinct. But yet the horse shows no symptom of trauma in their systems. So what I find interesting is because we're dealing with the third survival response, which is freeze, immobiling. And when that
Mm.
happens, it's like playing dead, and there are other animals that do that. But when that happens, um, it's this sensational reaction in your body. But the problem that we have is that it's supposed to run its course. And if it doesn't run its course, like with fight or flight, the discharge through that massive energy of like running, that massive energy discharge is shaking or trembling, and that's the release. But with the freeze phase, it's if it isn't completed, that change stays trapped. And the body's perspective of that is that it is still under threat. So what happens when I mean, sometimes we call those triggers or buttons, but sometimes with these intentional healings, the work is to release the stored energy and turn off the threat alarm. So that's why this approach is a little bit better because even though it speeds up the process and we all gain a better understanding of how we heal our bodies, it's a deeper connection to, or the best approach to being gently knocking down those alarms or those walls um, versus like traditional therapy sessions that usually take a long time to peel them off. This happens so quickly, but it's so gentle. Um, and I find it fascinating that the horse can take it on because they don't have that freeze phase. They don't have that skill to keep it. So we can release that from them as soon as they take it from us. And I think that's the beauty of them
So
as
we don't
healers.
have to worry about burdening the horses, right? Like that's
Not
what
at all.
you're saying is they're not going to keep it in their field because they
Not
don't
at
do
all.
trauma. They don't do
They
trauma.
don't do
They shake
drama.
it off, they
No,
run
and
it off.
a lot of
You know,
people, yeah, a lot of people have big hearts and they go, "Oh, but I feel bad that, you don't have to feel bad." And we do a ceremonial sweep of their body from their poll, which is the top of their head, all the way down to the dock, which is the end of their tail. We do a sweep of that energy and send it out, just as a courtesy. Um,
yeah, and
and
that's more for us
it's really
so that
beautiful.
we can really identify with, okay,
Yeah.
I'm completing this session. It's kind of like a gratitude, like a notion of gratitude and thanks
Yeah, that's a nice
for
way to look at it.
that healing, at least because it feels like they're not taking it on. They're really just absorbing and releasing down. And
Yeah.
so I know that we're going to get into learning more ways how we can release our energies to Mother Earth. That's going to be something that I guide us through as well. So we can know that, there is this living sentient being that is the planet, that is the platform for all of us, and that she is really the master recycler. So she's taking all this energy back, right? And she's recycling it and giving us positive new resources in return. So there's this beautiful symbiotic relationship that
Mm.
happens, especially when we're interacting with another species. And the planet loves that so much because it's so diverse. There's so many beings, from plant beings to animal beings, human beings, and birds, and all of it. And you will be interacting with so many different different beings of life when you're with us at this retreat, because you're going to be out in nature. You're going to be connecting to so much more than the horses, although the horses are going to be a major role, playing a major role in your healing. It's going to be a wonderful, just total detox from technology. That's my favorite part.
Me too.
Yes. So, okay. So, did you want to talk about intentional healing, or do you feel like we covered that? I want to make sure I get to all of the questions we outlined.
Yeah, I think it's such a personal thing to say, okay, I'm going to come, set my intentions, and do the work. It's these retreats are mostly designed for people who are hungry to level up, and they're if you're feeling stuck in your life, your work, wherever it is, or if you know that you come with some trauma, and you're tired of carrying it, then come to these retreats, because this is the place to get that work done. And it's such a gentle way to get a lot of work done in a very short amount of time. I think it's the best. And a lot of people come and they just don't really get it, but they're called to come, and they find once they get here that they have that aha moment of gratitude for just saying yes.
The
Yeah.
yes. The yes is what brings in the permission for healing. So we have to remember that. That's part of that intention. You're coming here for a specific reason, and
Mhm.
then you're going to have all these side benefits as well. So how does someone know if this retreat is right for them? How would we guide them to find their yes for this?
So yeah, we have a great a slide for that, with a lot of the things that are happening.
Oh, I love this beautiful image. Tell us
Well,
what's
let's
happening here before
okay, so
we
let's
before we
jump
move
back.
on. Yeah.
Yes, let's jump back to this one, because this is Mel, and she's a client that comes every year for the retreats. Her first retreat, um, she came with many issues. Like she said, I have a lot on my plate, and boy, she was right. But since her first retreat, she comes back every year, and she shares with me which part of her she wishes to rewrite. And I love that question. So if you aren't sure, just which part of you would like to rewrite is a great question to ask. Um, and she's also actually one of the people who we've left a review on one of the slides at the end. But I think you can see how she's just being, she's not doing. And this is her review. I can't say enough about the integrity, education, and love that you will gain from joining Under One Sun Healing Retreats. Truly life changing, a necessity and welcome change to the healing mystical arts, returning yearly for more expansion. Mel B. Um, if you just, I don't know, I can't say anything more than that. And that's definitely a review of how we search for words, deep meaning words, for what happens with these horses. And that horse in the background with the beautiful dapples is a very spiritual horse. So this slide has a lot of power and energy, but you can see, if you know write down this website, it explains in detail everything that you need to know if there are questions that weren't answered today.
Yes, absolutely. So that is the website. It's meredithkelly.podia.com. meredith.com/horse retreat. And I just want to tune into that image again, because imagine you standing there and interacting with a horse so close up. It's like incredible. And yeah, it feels like she's letting go of a lot of mental chatter right there. It feels
Well,
like she
that's
is.
interesting that you say that because she actually, you know, let kind of gets into her head, and then she gets lost, and that horse literally walked up and was right on her third eye, just sitting right there helping her out.
So
We've had
beautiful.
clients that have felt, some of their issues in their legs, and the horses will bring their head down and rub on their legs as a communication that, now they're taking it on.
Mm.
It's remarkable, and I'm in awe every retreat at how those horses step up for us. So this slide is a great example of, if you're asking the question, is this retreat for me? And if you look at some of the signs of our nervous system, and if you just look at the list, and ask yourself, am I having these issues? Then this retreat is definitely for you. But the number one sign I always am asking is, if you have this instant feeling, if you're reading this or if you're listening to this and you have this instant feels, like all the feels tingling up your spine, or your heart is just growing bigger, then that to me is probably the biggest answer, that your answer is yes. The horses are calling you to come. And
Mm.
if you don't know why, it's okay. We'll guide you and help you through it. I've had many people say, "Well, I don't know why I'm here, but so and so said I should come," and it's beautiful. That's completely fine, because the horses know. They know, and we'll guide you through it. And do you
It's
have
a
anything
beautiful,
to add, Meredith?
it's just a beautiful process. And I know that, you know, um, when you go towards something that can be a healing for you, sometimes we get locked in a place of like, oof, I don't know if this is right for me. We get hesitant. We feel like, oh, what is the excuse? So I don't have enough time, or I don't have enough money, or I don't have enough this or that to create this space. So listen to that mind set of yours, and just tune in and feel if this is really right for you. Because at this time on planet Earth, there is so much going on in the external world. And like Dianna had said, it's so important for us to turn that noise out and turn towards ourselves, because you don't need us, you need you. And this is what this retreat is going to do. It's going to bring you home to you, and the horses are going to lead you there. And it is such a beautiful thing to witness. Just drop in, like, is now your time? Can you prioritize your health, your well-being, your me time in a group of other people who want to do the same, surrounded by beautiful horses in nature? I mean, you know if this is right for you. And if you have any hesitations, or you want to speak to myself or Dianna, we are here for you to just walk you through anything that may be holding you back. One of my gifts is helping you to overcome self sabotage in the ways that we, put money above our own, prioritizing our own wellness sometimes. And that is just a habit, and it can be shifted. And so I'm happy to help anybody who is feeling that they're having some resistance, and they just want a little nudge to get through to the other side and really prioritize the self-care, because I find that that is what's most needed right now here on planet Earth.
Oh, that sounds delicious. Yes.
We know that if you're here watching this, that something stirred in your heart and is pulling you towards this experience. And maybe it's just curiosity. Maybe it's a deep down knowing that you need something completely different than what you've been doing. Either way, we invite you to just trust that feeling, reach out to us. This retreat isn't just about being around horses, it's about stepping into a space where you can breathe fully, you can release and reconnect with you. Again, this is about you coming back to yourself. There's a term I like to call it like self retrieval, retrieving yourself from all the places that you left parts of yourself behind. Maybe it was a traumatic experience, maybe it was something else, but we kind of have this tendency to fragment when things aren't going well. And so this is all about calling all aspects of yourself back into presence in a way that you maybe have never experienced before. And I just want to say that spots are limited and we would love to hold space for you in this beautiful sacred container. And if you feel called to join us, we are thrilled. I have an application link that you can go ahead and fill out, and let's explore together if this is the right journey for you. The application link is on the website, and I'm also going to post it here with this video so that it'll be together and you can just go right there. Because I realized, Dianna, that you have to be live on this call to actually click this, which is the application link. So none of you are. This is just the two of us on the call. So none of you are live. So I'm going to go ahead and post that link for you in a way where you can go ahead and take that call to action and just
Yeah.
drop in and feel if this is right for you.
Yeah.
And the investment is $14.95 in case you had that question. And there's well over $2,000 worth of experiences here. And again, you coming back to you is priceless. And making your investment into that is something that I know will come back to you in full circle in so many ways that we just
Right.
can't
And
even imagine.
I also will mention that it's not just the price for the healing sessions. It's your lodging, it's all of your meals. Um, that to me is such a great deal for this retreat. But we wanted to make it possible for everyone because it's not just limited to who needs healing. We all do.
Yes, yes. And this will be held. Where is it going to be held? Tell us where. This magical.
Well, yes, this year it's going to be held at the um, Healing for Arts Wellbeing Center in Hudson, Wisconsin.
And I cannot wait to get out there to the Midwest and be with you in this sacred container. So thank you, Dianna. Do you have any last words for our listeners?
Um, I like to call it rebalancing. So I say that everybody come over to Midwest and let's get rebalanced.
Awesome. Awesome. I cannot wait for those of you who are feeling called to join us. Can't wait to have a conversation with you. And yes, let's connect and we will hopefully see you soon with the horses this summer.
Yes, bless
Bye
the
for
horses.
now.
Bye.